Good evening, StarCraft people. We have got another series for you guys today. It's going to be a TVZ between everybody's favorite Terran, bbreed, and our red Zerg player, timbo0o0o0o0o. Now, I don't know how many games are going to be played tonight, so let's go with 3 for now. Best of 3, let's call it. Start things off on Jagannatha LE. I don't know what the LE stands for. We can make that up as we go. Jagannatha. Don't know if I'm saying that right. I think it's Indian? Don't quote me on that. Don't know what it means. LE. What should that stand for? Well, this is the Legacy of the Void expansion, so let's say Legacy expansion? That's kind of lame, but let's go with that. It's a standard opening from both sides. Barracks in the main, single gas, so it doesn't look like it's going to be a fast starport into BCs or anything like that. It's just going to be a Reaper first into expand, it looks like. And Timbo, he went for a hatchery first, followed by gas and pool. Pretty standard, and a fast third base. That's pretty fast. Normally you would see Zergs get it slightly after their first 2 queens. So Timbo opting for an earlier third. That's going to set him up nicely for the mid to late game. Of course he does have to make it there. First Reaper is arriving and there are no lings, no queens just yet. And already getting 1 drone, forcing a lot of lost mining time. And one thing that Timbo doesn't do is get early Zerglings. He does start 4, but they are quite late, and another drone is going to go down. That's 2 drones already, a lot of lost mining time. Might even get a third. Nope, doesn't get the third. That was a close one, and this Reaper might go down actually. Ooh, bit of a mistake there by bbreed losing that Reaper. And Timbo needs to cancel these buildings, or else it's more wasted resources, but not gonna cancel that spy, not gonna cancel that extractor as well. So that's 2 drones down, in addition to the 2 he lost, and 2 buildings he probably doesn't really need right now. So that's gonna hurt him a bit. And then there was the micro. He wasn't really producing too much stuff, and as a result Timbo's down to 18 workers, now droning back up to 20, but he shouldn't really be down in workers to the Terran at any point of the game, really. Now back on the Terran side of things, he's going for a 3rd command center. This is a deviation from his usual Marine Marauder, Widowmine, Hellbat push, but actually a bit of a more standard build in the current meta game. 3 CCs, morph that into an orbital. You don't even have to land that right away, just kind of use it for extra SCV production, extra mules, extra scans, what have you. And that's really helpful to establish the Terran economy. So it is good to see that bbreed is evolving his game. Not that there was anything wrong with his old game. In fact, he had a stellar TVZ record with the previous strategy that he would go for quite frequently. But it's good to have multiple tools in your toolbox. So, also gonna be getting a Liberator to start things off, and I'd like to see him utilize that for the harassment. do hope he goes for that now, and it does look like it's moving across the map. Once again though, the wall non-existent, and Timbo's not really one to go for the rush, Baneling bus or whatever, but still something to keep in mind. And Timbo, if he were a more reactive player, having scouted that with that Overlord that was there before, maybe he could have made a on-the-fly decision to mass Lings and just send it. But that's not going to be coming, at least not for now. Timbo's going to be going for a layer now. He does have his Baneling nest, going to get a macro hatchery in the main base. And that Liberator from earlier didn't really go straight to Timbo's main, so kind of slacking, and Timbo has his queens in production, so he did spot that. bbreed gonna siege it up and not hit anything. I mean, I can't fault him too much for that. It's kind of an odd location with this base structure, but gonna start taking some damage from the queens. Does get one queen actually, and that's a good pick off. Liberator down to what is that, 40% HP, but defense good enough from Timbo, and he has droned up to a nice 59, so saturation on all three bases pretty decent, and he does have 6 gases, which I think is a little more than you need with this composition. He is going for a Hydralisk Den as he usually does. This Liberator gonna be annoying. Clean up some Overlords, and actually without the speed she might get a good few of them. And get another one here, and there are more on the map that are vulnerable. We'll see if bbreed sniffs those out. He is now landing his 3rd command center, and he is on 48 SEV, so he can transfer some over. Bit oversaturated here, and actually main base not quite fully saturated, but that's okay because he has been dropping mules on these, and he's also going for vehicle upgrades, so gonna make those tanks a little bit stronger. As we see, he does have 2 protecting his natural, actually 3, but that 3rd one is not sieged up. Gonna be moving that as we speak. And 3rd base, a couple tanks here not sieged either, and a whole lot of Marines. He doesn't quite have stim or combat shields just yet, but they are on the way. They will be finishing shortly. 2 upgrades already on the way as well. So upgrade advantage gonna be favoring the Terran, as Timbo's 1-1 only just finishing now. And Timbo, he does have his Hydralisk Den. He's also going for an Infestation Pit as well as a Spire. So Timbo trying to get essentially all the tech in the Zerg arsenal. And I don't know how I feel about this. Could be like trying to do too much at once, and I don't know if he'll be able to juggle everything. He does have a nice Ling Hydra force, not enough Banelings, and I do see this out of Timbo quite often. He has his Baneling nest, but he doesn't morph any Banelings, and that's gonna be bad news if he decides to fight this army. You definitely need Banelings against such a heavy Marine army. Timbo gonna now start morphing some Banelings, but is it gonna be in time for this attack? He doesn't have Baneling speed, that's nice. Sometimes he forgets that. And okay, those Banelings are gonna complete. And it's going to be all about the engagement now. These tanks, very powerful. Timbo needs to set up angles. Coming from one angle like this, usually not a good idea. However, many of the tanks unsieged. Some tanks down here, not even in the fight. So that's a good engagement by Timbo, but a big mistake from bbreed. He was kind of just hanging out on creep. So of course Timbo had the vision and he was able to identify that bbreed had that weakness. He didn't have tanks in position, they weren't sieged up, and Timbo pulling the trigger, jumping on that army, took a very nice engagement, but he's not out of the woods just yet. He still has vision, so he can go for a good fight if he chooses to. Gonna wrap around the back, get some of these tanks away from the Marines, but gotta back out of there, I think. And yeah, he's gonna avoid the army, gonna go for the counterattack. I don't mind this, gonna force bbreed all the way back home, but is Timbo too deep into enemy territory? In fact, he's gonna wedge himself further into the Terran base. He's gonna commit fully to try to get this command center, but the repair is good and bbreed's gonna save it. Oh no, that's a pretty big mistake from Timbo. He wedged himself in between these buildings. There was no way out. He went for that command center, and if he had gotten that, that would have been okay. But bbreed, quick with the repairs, able to save that and clean up that Zerg army. Timbo now with only Ling Bane tries to go for another attack, decides to back off instead. And we do see Timbo with quite a heavy supply deficit. He's going to run in once again, and that's not the engagement he wanted. Going to lose almost his entire army, and now bbreed, he has this game in the bag. He just needs to close it out. Timbo producing nothing but Zerglings, not even morphing Banelings, so gonna be forced to GG out of game number 1. Alright, welcome back folks. This is gonna be game number 2 in this best of 3 series between the pink Terran bbreed and the red Zerg Timbo Slice. bbreed saying Derek wants the heat next. Now I don't know if that is in fact true, but I think bbreed felt that was a little too easy. Maybe he wants a more of a challenge than Timbo can offer. Timbo saying Derek can space CK it. And Derek, aka Yellow Jello, did actually take a series off of bbreed last night. I think his first series victory over bbreed in quite a long time, so bbreed perhaps wanting revenge, also trying to call him out. Of course he does need to get past Timbo. Judging by the last game, he definitely has all the tools and abilities to do so. Starting things off in the second game, looks like gonna be similar openings from both players, not too much variation. And game number 2 gonna be played on Blackburn LE. Once again, that LE, I don't know what that stands for, but this is actually one of the more unique maps in the map pool, and this is why. This gold base at a tricky location. Now you can go for this, as Timbo is doing, but it is vulnerable to pressure from the back here. So Timbo gonna have to be aware of that. We'll have to see if bbreed identifies this and if he decides to go for some kind of harassment here. It's the Reaper gonna be making its way across the map once again, and Queens not ready, no Zerglings in production again. So this Reaper gonna be able to find some good damage once again. We'll see if it gets any kills, but already the lost mining time pretty significant. And of course the minerals spent to make these structures, it's not free. Even if he cancels it later on, he doesn't get 100% back. So Timbo, I really think he needs to produce 2 to 4 Zerglings as soon as that spawning pool finishes, for this exact reason. The Reaper just doing so much damage. Yes, he didn't get those kills, but the mining time, the cancelled minerals, every little bit helps. Now this Reaper gonna scout out that gold base of Timbo. Fire some shots at that hatchery, not really gonna do anything there. But behind this, bbreed has gotten his natural up. Gonna be morphing that into an orbital, and once again going for that triple CC build. He's pumping out Marines 2 at a time. He's got a factory producing siege tanks and another barracks behind this. So all things looking prim and proper for our pink Terran player. This Reaper forced away by that spawn queen, and now Timbo going to be transferring some workers to that gold base. Always a good idea to fully saturate that gold ASAP, because you just mine more efficiently off of these gold minerals. So good job there. I do believe these 3 drones going to be going there as well. Nice. And yeah, 12 out of 12. That's gonna greatly boost the Zerg player's income, as we can see, just shooting up just now. And coming back down a little bit because bbreed probably just dropped some mules there. Mules are pretty good, and he does have 3 of them thanks to that triple CC. Does need to fix his rally, send these siege tanks to kind of protect the base. And of course Timbo has full vision of the front of the ramp thanks to this Overlord. He can spot all these Marines, he can spot, well, not the full ramp I suppose, but Timbo has a pretty good idea of what's going on. Also sends in a second Overlord to scout. Going to see this triple CC, going to see the factory, siege tanks, starport. So Timbo with pretty good scouting there, and not fully saturating this gas. Okay, now he does. Going for a layer, and we'll have to see what he decides to go for. But Timbo, typically a Hydra guy, so I would expect to see that. Does have a Baneling nest already, getting Baneling speed, and there goes the Hydralisk den. So both players kind of just powering up, but bbreed actually moving out with a Marine tank force. Timbo does spot that with that Overlord that just got picked off, so he needs to produce units fast, and this is what I was talking about. This location is super annoying. It's gonna take a lot to really defend this. Timbo has to run all the way around, and these tanks sieged up. It's gonna be super hard to break. I don't know about this. No Banelings once again. I think Timbo needs to just give this location up. It's probably not worth it to try to hold, and maybe just take a third here. What's Timbo doing? Is he trying to wrap around, catch the reinforcements maybe? No, he's just going for a counterattack, and this could be huge. And I think this is a hole in the wall, so yeah, Timbo slips in. Oh, big mistake from bbreed, not walling off fully. and these Lings gonna get a lot of damage done. And that is massive because he did lose that base. bbreed looks like he's not going to be running home to defend, so we might be seeing a bit of a base trade situation here. And bbreed got to lift this off. No, going to lose that orbital. That's bad. But Timbo, what does he have back at home? Not a whole lot, so he is going to be losing almost everything back at home. And some Hydras that were in the middle of the map, not sure why. He's gonna try to mount a defense here, but no Banelings once again. bbreed gonna be focusing down this hatchery. Oh, not quite. Gonna go for the fight now. SCV's in the mix as well, and bbreed actually gonna be losing a lot. Where were the tanks? They were busy just chilling here. And that's a big mistake. Those tanks definitely needed to be part of that fight. So both players taking massive damage here. And, oh, minimize my screen by accident. Alright, we are back. And Timbo still running around with some Lings and Hydras. Timbo actually sitting on a worker lead right now, 45. And oh, these tanks being caught in the middle of the map. That is huge. And this is a big opportunity right now for Timbo. He has a worker lead. He has an army lead. How are the upgrades? So the upgrade's going to be favoring the Terran, but the army pretty fearsome for Timbo. 2 tanks siege in the back. That's going to be very difficult to break. So Timbo, I don't think he can really attack right now. Looks like he agrees. He's just gonna fall back for now. Try to get his bases back up. Get his second and third, as well as a macro hatchery. He does have quite a bit of money, but I don't know if he necessarily needed that macro hatchery. Either way, he's trying to re-establish his infrastructure. Second base, now mining once again. 4 out of 3 on this extractor, needs to fix that. But yes, still sitting on a nice income lead. Third base on the blue minerals is up. Needs to start droning that up. But behind this, bbreed, he has landed that previously third command center. Now it's his natural once again, and he has been remaking his workers, so back up to 32, and he's continuing that SCV production. And yeah, bbreed gonna be closing the gap. He was pretty far behind, and don't get me wrong, he's still behind, but he is doing a good job staying in this game, establishing his defenses with these tanks. It's going to be very difficult to break this location. And Timbo rallying more Hydras across. And this is actually a scary moment for both players. A bunch of these Hydras going to get caught, and Timbo going to use this opportunity to try to catch those tanks on siege. Does get 2 of them. But the upgrades heavily favoring the Terran. He has 1-1. Timbo does not have any upgrades. How's this fight going to go? I think it's going to favor the Terran player, and he's going to clean up all the Zerg that was here. So all of a sudden, the supply has evened up, and now Timbo trying to produce some more Zerglings. He still doesn't have his upgrades, although they are on the way. bbreed now looks like he's going for another attack. Is Timbo gonna be able to survive this? It's gonna be dicey, as he is behind in army by 20 something. No Hydras in this, so it's just gonna be Ling Bane. And now bbreed's trying to siege up. Timbo's gonna have to be very careful how he engages this, but it's so difficult. Maybe if he goes for the bio away from the tanks, and this is his opportunity, but shouldn't run too far. Maybe he has enough anyways. A lot of the Banelings crashing into Marauders, but it looks like the reinforcing Lings gonna be enough. So once again, Timbo taking the supply lead only slightly. Now bbreed did clean up a lot of this creep. Still an active tumor here actually, but this game has suddenly evened up once again. Timbo, he does have a slight worker lead and slight army lead as well actually, and he does have his 1-1 completed. However, bbreed did get his 2-2, so bbreed still sitting on an upgrade advantage. His tanks even has +1 attack, and Timbo, he really needs to get a 4th because the Terran has landed his 3rd. He's morphing that into a planetary, and you don't want to be on even bases with a Terran. So Timbo gonna need to get another base soon, and he did tech up to Hive. He is getting his adrenal glands. It's a very important upgrade as it allows your Zerglings to attack 40% faster. That's a pretty big deal, and I would like to see him tech up to Ultralisks or maybe Lurkers, but we don't really see any Hive tech at the moment. Even if he just goes for like Vipers, I would like that as well, as they can cast Blinding Cloud on the tanks. But as it stands, I would favor bbreed's army in its current position. Timbo continue to make Lings and Hydras, and he is going for that Lurker Den now, but very late. It's gonna take a while to finish, then he needs to get both upgrades. So I would have liked to see that a bit earlier, but better late than never, I suppose. Now Timbo is trying to re-establish that 4th base on the gold location. Similarly, bbreed doing the same, and his is actually going to finish slightly earlier, I think. So it looks like things are slowing down now. Workers actually favoring the Terran. The worker count has not been up to par for Timbo. And now bbreed gonna be moving out. Very scary bio mine liberator force. The tanks kind of left behind. There's 1 tank with this army. Timbo, does he want to try to hold this off, or does he want to commit to this Nidus play? I think he does have to defend this first, and he does go for a small skirmish, and now he runs in. There's only 1 tank once again, so this could be favorable for Zerg. He decides to back off, doesn't want to run off creep. I respect that decision, but he does need to come up with a solution for everything. And okay, he is going for the Nidus. He's loading everything into the Nidus, but not dropping it just yet. Okay, dropping that into the back of bbreed's main. Does bbreed spot this? No. And this could be huge. Nidus gonna pop out any second, and there it goes. Out comes the Zerg army. What is gonna be bbreed's reaction as he spots that he's gonna he's gonna pull back now? And I don't know, it takes so long to run back. I think I would have favored the counterattack, the base trade, as running back takes so much time. He's already losing so much back at home, losing that main command center. I don't know if this was the right choice. Of course, it's very hard to make these decisions on the fly in the middle of the game. And now bbreed trapped in his own base, but not quite. You're not trapped in here with me. Wait, how does the saying go? I'm not trapped in here with you. You're trapped in here with me. And bbreed does clean that up. Takes a sizable supply lead, actually. Wait, where? How is that? How did Timbo lose everything? I guess the upgrades were pretty good, and the economy not good enough for Timbo to really re-max his army. It looks like this counterattack gonna be pretty devastating. Timbo gonna try to pick out some of these crucial units before the rest of the army shows up. But now that the Marines and Marauders have arrived, Timbo has a tall order in front of him. Some units still in this Nidus, but they are going to be trapped. And Timbo with the single G gonna have to tap out.